good night, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. And welcome to this, the latest Can Hub show. We've got a great show today, as always. Matty, who's on?
JP. Today we have, as usual, the lovely Nina de Bruin with her cannabis news, brought to you by MMJDaily. We have Andrea Di Pasten from MMJDaily. We'll chew the fat with this very knowledgeable man. After that, we have a huge bombshell. We'll cross to the demo in the desert with Lise Bernard from Greenvault Systems. She's going to show us some really cool Mobius product and, of course, the superstar Greenvault Precision Batcher. And then to bring up the rear, old JP is going to talk to us about cocoa.
And not the stuff you have in your cup at night.
All right, without further ado, let's throw to Nina de Bruin with her MMJDaily news.
Welcome everyone to the new segment of the show brought to you by MMJDaily. The number of mergers and acquisitions in world cannabis has continued its upward trend. Last month saw Cannabis Growth acquire the Supreme Cannabis Company for $435 million. Israeli firm IM Cannabis acquired Canadian MYM, and Glasshouse Group was purchased by Mercer Park for a sizable $567 million. April is also the month where we celebrate cannabis culture as a whole. 420 has been so ingrained into cannabis culture for so many years that it was predictable that the cannabis industry would completely embrace it. This also because on 420 there has always been a spike in cannabis sales. So it only makes sense that the industry would facilitate the celebration. On this note, don't forget to check the 420 week specials on MMJDaily. Following the example of New York, the state of New Mexico legalized recreational cannabis. The focus of the legalization bill is on giving easier access to small entrepreneurs and minorities into a market that is potentially worth $425 million. For the first time, an African medical cannabis producer has won the approval to export medical cannabis flowers to the EU. Lesotho-based MG Health has been certified as meeting the EU GMP standards. This certification allows the company to sell its products in one of the most profitable EU medical cannabis markets, namely Germany, to which the first shipment is expected to be around June. This was already all the cannabis news for this month. Hope to see you soon and enjoy the rest of the show. Bye bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrea Di Pasten from MMJDaily. Welcome, Andre.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Andre. Absolute pleasure. And thank you for joining us. We know today's a holiday day for you in Holland. But the wheels of industry keep turning. It's good to see you at the tiller.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, someone has to keep the whole thing going on, you know, so.
Well, certainly MMJDaily, every day there's more stories, more interesting content in it. How do you find the pace that the industry is expanding across Europe? Do you think it's going as quick as you expected or faster?
I think generally speaking, there are a lot of promising stuff going on, like especially with regards to, you know, like programs that they're doing trials. They started like some time ago, like a couple of years ago with Denmark doing the medical pilot program. Was just a trial. So I'm just talking specifically about these trials because, I mean, of course, if we have to talk about the medical cannabis market as a whole, then one has to consider Germany, Italy, that are the biggest markets. But then you saw Denmark doing something about medical cannabis, and then after that, you know, like a year ago, the whole cannabis chain experiment here in the Netherlands didn't really started, but they started getting the applications. There were, of course, like there have been a lot of issues, a lot of troubles, because, I mean, people don't really, you know, try to learn from history and stuff, you know, by looking at the US and Canada, you know, so they just started, you know, doing anything as, you know, it was from a vacuum, you know, and they started making these rules that eventually weren't really clear, and then the process, you know, there were some bumps along the way. And then after that, if we look at Switzerland right now, that is also doing like a very interesting program, not only because it's specifically about adult use, but the very interesting thing about the Switzerland trial is that they are also going to combine that with a very thorough investigation on the effects of adult use legalization on the population. And I think also that is really important, because as far as we can all, of course, endorse the use of cannabis and medical cannabis and everything that is related to that space, it is still very much important to keep researching and understanding, you know, like how society would react to such a thing.
There's a large.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, you go, Jimmy.
There's a large project in the UK called Project 21. I'm not sure you probably are familiar with it, which is a study on the effects of using cannabis medication on patients. So that's another ongoing one, another interesting one to watch for us. Sorry, yeah. Matt, what were you going to say?
I was just, I was going to say, we look at countries like Canada and certainly a lot of North American states who have legalized, and obviously the world doesn't explode, life goes on, and as a result some nice tax revenue comes in, but really understanding those socio-economic impacts and looking at things 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, it is really important to have an understanding. I do agree. And let's wait for the Freakonomics side of it to come out and see whether kids' names are changing 10 years later, or the average wage increases $3, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to come out. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. Andre, obviously your role as a employee at MMJDaily puts you in a position to really study the cannabis industry, and especially the European industry, with a very fine tooth comb. So from our point of view, sitting back at CanHub, looking to Europe in the next 5 or 10 years, do you believe the hype? Do you see a $30 billion industry, within the next 10 years? What are your thoughts on how Europe will progress?
So I would start from the fact that Europe, generally speaking, has been lagging behind America and North America when it comes to the cannabis industry, and we have been late with regards to all the aspects of the cannabis industry. So I would start from the assumption that the European market as of now is where the US market was 5 or 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So if you ask me where the European market will be in 5 to 10 years, just look at the US market right now. We probably will be where they are right now. But we also have to, make some distinctions. And the main distinction is that in Europe, mainly we're talking about medical cannabis, medical industry. In the US is combined medical and recreational. And we have to see right now how the trials that I mentioned before in Switzerland, in the Netherlands, and possibly in Luxembourg, because Luxembourg is working on some adult use legalization bill as well that is expected to, anytime soon, to know something more about it. So we are taking this slow, approach. I mean, they don't call Europe the old continent for no reason, So it's really, it takes. I'm not personally old, but the soil I'm walking on is very much old, So it's takes a while to get where he wants to get. So,
and I mean. Methodical, yeah. Andre, I think they call it.
It is, but a counter argument that I could make about the general slowness of the European institutions about the cannabis industry is that, again, take a look at the US market. There have been issues there, both in Canada and in the US, with regards to some aspects of the regulations that, as the industry matured, eventually those issues were addressed. and they started a large-scale market since the beginning. It wasn't just a trial, very small, with only selected people, and then we started the effect only on that people. It was immediately, let's start large-scale market. Let's give it a try. We actually got everything wrong. No problem. Just fix everything, as we go. So why haven't we done this here in Europe as well? This is a question that actually I have no answer to, honestly.
And European legislators, please, if you allow 50 farms to open up, allow 500 dispensaries to open up, so that the product that the farms produce can be accessed by the people who want it when it's ready to go. That's something that I would like to see rectified with the European market.
That would be very nice, but also, I mean, even more here in Europe than in the US, that the differences between nations here, or state, if you will, if you were in the US, is way much higher, so that because we have very much different culture, different languages and stuff. So it really allows for a more granular approach to cannabis regulations, which is the same that they're doing in the US and that is working, but still we have like the perfect ground to carry that out.
There seems to be they seem to be keeping quite a tight eye on the Dutch coffee shop experiment. I think a few countries are sort of looking to Holland with the years of experience they've already got with the coffee shops, etc., and seeing how the program of introducing the licenses and the growing and the supply chain and removing completely the criminality from any area of the thing. It's got to be right. The regulation's got to be good for the end user, hasn't it? It just makes sense to do it. Yeah,
and again, it's even though there have been some bumps along the way of this coffee shop program experiment, and there will be still more as we go far into it. We, like as an industry, can't get this wrong. It's like there's not a possibility. It needs to be get done right.
Yeah.
And Andre, so you walk into a coffee shop in one of these municipalities that has become involved with the coffee shop experiment, and you're able to go in and access products that are produced in these legal environments, potentially using a lot of the technology, and certainly, with a case of some of the licensees really bringing that American flavor to the table. What kind of differences do you think you might see in one of those coffee shops compared to a traditional coffee shop in Amsterdam? Obviously, one with a rich history.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was listening to a podcast, or I was reading an article. I don't remember which was it, but I remember this sentence about, I think it was a grower that was explaining that one thing is like growing cannabis of high quality, and when a person that doesn't know what high quality means, the moment he tries, it gets completely mind blown, and it makes the example, if you have eaten McDonald's all your life, and then all of a sudden you actually get a real burger, you're go like, oh, actually what I've been eating thus far was bad.
Yeah.
So I expect that when the coffee shop experiment will start, and then we'll see actually real high quality product. Not that there aren't right now, but actually real high quality controlled products, then I think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I agree. There are those coffee shops dotted around where you can get some real high quality stuff, but then there's also, from my experiences, there's also, some quite generic product that you kind of know is being grown outdoors and potentially doesn't have a rich terpene profile, or isn't a select bud, so to speak. So I think these guys are going to be under pressure to really deliver a high level, especially with multiple licensees vying for the customer's dollar.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't really feel much like blaming coffee shops themselves, or not even the growers, because I mean the way that the regulations here in the Netherlands are made, you know, that's a huge gray area when it comes to coffee shop supply. And basically it's called like a backdoor policy, because like the supply is basically legal, but then the sale is legal. And because it is not controlled, you know, you can see like a lot of difference in quality between coffee shops, that it's not really much up to them, because I mean they source their product from what, you know, they can source it from. And yes, like some don't have like a rich terpene profile, others just really look ugly, you know. So, and like really from one week on another, you know, actually the same thing that one week looked ugly, the week after looks great.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, when you liken that to a supermarket model or a greengrocer model, they're only as good as their farmers and their suppliers are producing at the time. And if you want to have a product on the menu, you could be sourcing it from 2 or 3 different locations in order to maintain that consistency. And I agree that this coffee shop project should certainly provide a greater level of consistency for these guys.
Yeah, and
pressure on the grower is going to come from the consumer, because the consumer now is so much more knowledgeable about what he wants from his product, what terpene profile he wants to achieve, what effects he wants, whether it's relaxing or a stimulant. And customer knowledge is growing all the time. So the pressure is on to deliver what the customer wants, and regulated product is the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, like very much so. But the thing is that I'm this is just my opinion, but I don't think that the customer base in Europe is as savvy as it is in the US, mainly because we haven't been used to, you know, such a legal cannabis framework. So I expect that as soon as the cannabis experiment starts here, that the Switzerland experiment actually is going to be a success, because I mean that's pretty much going to be such. As soon as, you know, we are going to get used to, you know, what actually a real burger tastes, you know, then we are like, all the people are gonna demand that.
Yes, yeah. There's certainly your connoisseurs, isn't there, in the marketplace.
The burgers will be better in Europe, so it's coming. On
there
that
are
note,
multiple burger chains available.
it's all you can eat, guys. It's coming your way. On that note, Andre, or Dre as I call you, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. You're a superstar. Guys, jump onto www.mmjdaily for your daily cannabis world news. These guys are all over it and are dishing up the best in the business. Dre, thanks again for your time, mate.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Have a good day. Thank you, Andre. Absolutely first-class interview. A real pleasure having you on, and a real insight into the industry and the way it's looking in Europe. So, what's next, Matty?
Mate, Jimmy, get ready to dust off that passport, because next we head to Las Vegas for the demo in the desert, baby.
Yeah.
Woo! Hi, Lise from Greenvault Systems, all the way from Las Vegas. Welcome to the Can Hub Show.
Oh my gosh, Matthew, it's great to be here. It is hot in the desert, but we're having so much fun. We're here at Mobius to do their demo in the desert that they do twice a year. And this is their spring version. And they've got all kinds of equipment. They just did their big reveal of the new sorter, which is a beautiful piece of equipment. We're going to get to see that running in just a moment. I'll take you outside. Awesome. So they're going to be running their sorter, their trimmers, their buffers, their mills, case extractors, everything that they have will be running. And then, of course, we have our precision batcher, which will be running as well. It's just a day of fun, and we're all kind of, it's been one of those years that we haven't had a chance to kind of see people and talk with people. And even though there are a lot of fist bumps, it's just great even to have a fist bump. So we will be heading.
What's the atmosphere like there, Lise?
It's super festive, and I think, especially a lot of people in our industry, we've been waiting to see machinery and see what's out there, and all get together, and everyone's super excited about what's coming up.
And the unbelievably beautiful image of course, the beautiful Lise and the beautiful Precision Batcher.
Right.
What's the interest there in the Precision Batcher? I mean, we know it to be an amazing piece of equipment. What are the crowd there most interested in with the Batcher?
Well, I think, people are really beginning to understand what they're giving away with Overpack, right? And so when we first started, so many people were coming to us talking about saving on labor, because that in their mind was really where they were losing, where the bottleneck was. And of course, it takes a long time and so many people to pack up. But they're starting to understand that when you're hand packing or using maybe a typical multi-head weigher, your overpack is really where you're losing money. And so, for example, on our eighths, our average weighment is 3.54, and a hand pack is an average of 3.6. And when you do the math on that, it just adds up really, really quickly. And so that's, you just see people's eyes opening. And I guess, we've got 125 machines out in the market now in the cannabis space. And so word's gotten out that the ROI is embarrassingly quick.
Yes, and we've looked at those figures, and for me, the combination of the quality that the Batcher delivers through its air cush technology, and of course the return on investment, for me, it's a no-brainer, folks. So jump on board there. We're back at the Greenvault Precision Batcher. Talk us through how this bad boy works.
So I took you upstairs so you can see we're high up in the DJ booth up here. And this is, honestly, if you take a look at the Batcher, I like to think of it as whack-a-mole, right? The green lights come on, the flower is fed, and you notice that she's feeding, in this case, one flower at a time. And what that allows us to do is get really good control over our iron packaging. And so each time the green light goes on, the flower gets filled, comes down here, and you see where it's weighed in that little cup there. It's weighed in a fraction of a second. And then you'll see that it just got blown down very gently by a puff of air into the holding cell. So we've got 8 weighments and 16 holding cells, which gives us over 60,000 combinations per weighment. So that's how it looks.
That's the key, the speed.
Yeah, the speed, the accuracy, the control, and the gentleness. That's what our clients told us they wanted when we developed the machine. And then right down here, we've got Erica, who runs our East Coast. She's filling jars. And when you see the green light go on, she's going to depress the foot pedal, and voila, the package is dispensed into the jar or bag or whatever have you. And we'll do about 800 to 1,000 packages, sustained throughput of about 800 to 1,000 packages an hour.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And of course, there's the ability to integrate this beautiful piece of equipment into a jarring line and really speed up the process and automate everything as well.
Indeed. And we have here, so we had someone who was just looking at it. Wait, I'll show you. In this case, it's a canning line, but if you look down, here are some of the things that we can do. That's a double unit batcher feeding into one canning line right here. So we can do all kinds of configurations. That's why I kind of refer to them as very big Legos. And so you can piece together, according to the needs of our clients, right? And the nice thing is that they're able to start with the batcher. They're able to really decide upon the packaging that's good for them. And once they have, then they can add on automation. They don't have to make all of these big decisions up front.
Yes. And I think that's super important for a business starting up as well, Lise.
I agree. And I think our clients do too. Anyway, here we are outside in this 99-degree heat, and we've got some shade here. And very soon we shall, I believe, be witnessing the first public run of a sorter. So I'm going to get a good place in line, Matthew.
Get a good place in the shade there.
Yeah, what, 99 degrees in the shade? Isn't that a song?
Hi, AJ. Congratulations on the new facility and the new sorter. It looks like an amazing piece of equipment. How are things going there?
Oh, the energy here is pretty friggin' awesome. It's awesome seeing people again and being, able to do some live events. So we've got this amazing facility here in Las Vegas. We've got neon signs up and everything. Hopefully that's been captured in some of the footage here. You got to have neon when you're in Vegas. So the whole purpose of this event, though, is because everybody, when they're buying equipment, they want to get eyes on it actually functioning. And you can only take equipment to so many individuals in any given span of time. So what is more efficient? Let's bring you here. And how hard is it to bring people to Vegas? It's not. So that's why we got set up here. We've got a fantastic team working, and we've got a whole bunch of material we're going to be working through here so people can actually get hands-on. So not only are we going to be running the equipment, but if anybody wants to kind of step in, feed some of the machines, do some stuff, get technical with their questions, see, how do we clean this, whatever it might be, they're going to be able to do that here.
That's amazing. The facility looks really beautiful, and obviously you've got some of the really cool Mobius equipment behind you there. The sorter, though, that's something that for me was really exciting. I was really excited to hear the AC/DC rocking out, the Australian rock band. Tell us a little bit more about the sorter. What did you guys take into consideration when designing that machine?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, the motivation behind it was just the market demand. We were getting all kinds of calls over the last year where, hey, love your trimmer. We really need a sorter. Do you guys have a sorter? We want to, use a Mobius piece of equipment. And so, if we could snap our fingers and have a sorter in production in a day or a week or a month, we would have done it. You want to do thoughtful design, though. We've actually got the sorter right now getting moved from the stage out into production. So
there it is. All right, AJ, I'll let you get back to the launch.
Well, actually, if I can just tell you about the sorter quickly, what was the inspiration behind it? We wanted to make it so that it was not going to crap out on you. We wanted to make the belts super high quality. We wanted to make it easy to clean. We wanted to give you options for how the product is graded. Sometimes you want to do it in more small increments. Sometimes it's broader. We wanted all of those things, and we wanted it to integrate easily with our equipment. That's what went into the design.
And if it's anything like the M108S, the MBX, I'm sure it will be market leading as well. So really looking forward to seeing it in person. Hopefully I can get over for MJ BizCon. And
that would be great.
Let's get this stuff over to our friends in Europe as soon as possible.
I love it. Thanks. It's good to see you, Matt.
Thanks, AJ.
Bye.
Take care. Enjoy the rest of the event. Here on our grand tour, we have the Mobius MB108S trimmer. You can see these beautifully manicured buds heading down to the rise conveyor. Wet trim, the MB108S can pull 120 pounds per hour. Dry trim, an impressive 60 pounds per hour. The MB108S trimmer is CE compliant and GMP compliant and offers a perfect balance of trim and throughput. And you can see the flower now dropping into the brand newly launched Mobius sorter. This piece of equipment looks highly impressive. All stainless steel, doing what it does best, using that belt system to drop your nicely trimmed buds into its various sizes, where it can then move onto different equipment throughout your facility, namely the Greenvault precision batcher, where you can then drop your sorted flowers into the batcher, have it check weighed and delivered with air cush technology right through to your waiting jar or bag. All in all, there's a reason these guys have got together and are working together, and that is that they can provide the perfect system. Please check us out at CanHub to learn more. Lise, thanks for giving us that amazing tour of the new Eteros facility and talking us through the Greenvault Precision Batcher, showing us the new Mobius sorter. Thanks to AJ Ivy for her hard work behind the camera. You guys have done an amazing job. I'm really looking forward to showing this on the CanHub show and also MMJ Daily.
That's awesome. Matthew, can't wait to see it. And next time, you're going to be in Vegas for Demo in the Desert.
Next time we will be there. And folks, keep an eye out for Greenvault coming to Europe for an upcoming show. Let's shoot for 2022.
That music to my ears, Matthew. Music to my ears.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you so much, Lise.
Thank you. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Take care.
Well, guys, hope you enjoyed the show this time, whether it's the demo in the desert in Vegas, looking at that amazing trimming and sorting and batching machines, or whether it's a little tech tip with your cocoa from Hull here in the UK, or whether it's Matt, the cat on the mat down there in Melbourne, bringing you all the news, views and interviews from around the world of commercial cannabis. Maddie, wrap it up.
Guys, thanks for joining us again on another episode of the CanHub show. Really appreciate your viewing time. Hope you enjoyed it. Please jump on www.can-hub.com. Also, remember to check out MMJ Daily for all of your latest cannabis news from around the globe. If you see us on the street, if you see us driving past, please socially distance, but say good day.
Good day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.